Hello, listeners. KC here. Just wanted to give a quick disclaimer before the show that we had a little bit of a technical difficulty during this episode, and my microphone was not acting quite properly, and my audio quality suffered a little bit this episode. So please still enjoy the show. It's still quite listenable. It's just that my voice is not going to come through quite as clear as normally, and I will fix this, and it will not be a problem that ever happens again. Anyway, thanks for listening.
This episode of the SwitchCast is produced by Justin Sneesack, our honored patron and Switch Knight.
Hey everybody, I'm KC.
And I'm JV.
And he's back!
I am back. Hey, I'm here, guys.
And this is the SwitchCast, the podcast for the Switch enthusiast. And we are going to have an awesome show today. We have JV back, and we have a lot of Switch news to build up and talk about. And we have a Nintendo Direct to go over. And we have E3 coming up, and we have socks.
Lots of socks.
Socks to talk about.
Yeah, that's the best part, though.
Yeah.
I gotta say, you know, there was a little bit of a lull in Switch excitement. But now it was the perfect time for Nintendo to release a new Nintendo Direct.
It was a very good time, yes.
Yeah, they just have the tempo for these things down so well.
They really do. I mean, every time, we were just kind of catching our breath from Mario Kart release, right? And we just kind of, people had gotten into the groove of it. The initial surge of activity had kind of a little bit leveled out, even though there's still people playing it all the time, obviously. And they will still. But the surge of all of our attention being on Mario Kart had just kind of, evened out, and bam, now we get the ARMS Direct, and pretty much it laid out everything that we would really want to know about it now at last, before it comes out and before E3, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so crazy that they're going so in-depth with ARMS now, yet E3 is still just around the corner, and that, is going to have so many exciting things announced on it. It's a good time to be a Switch fan.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably smart because, ARMS might not be the center stage thing at that point. I mean, I think that comes out next month, right, ARMS?
It comes out right during E3, actually.
Yeah, so, you got to get out all you can now, but you let E3 showcase the next thing that you're going to be excited for, even before you're done beating the one-player mode of ARMS.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good tempo. I think this is a really well thought out strategy for Nintendo. It's something that they definitely didn't do as much with a Wii U. Yeah,
right. They, I wasn't fond of the Wii U that much then, but I mean, they still did the Nintendo Directs and all that back then. But I just feel like there wasn't as many of these tent poles, I guess you could say. There's a lot of these very strong tent poles to always be looking forward to. Obviously, I think after ARMS, we're going to be looking forward to probably Mario Odyssey. That'll be the next tent pole established with Splatoon coming before that.
Right. And who knows if there's even going to be anything between that gap. Splatoon and Mario, who knows if there's going to be something in that little area.
I mean, there has to be something at E3 that they've got to fill that gap, I think. There has to be some new, we have a couple of rumors that have been circulating around that there's an unannounced Ubisoft game that's possibly the collaboration with Nintendo. Some have speculated the Rabbids Mario crossover game.
Yeah.
There's a few possibilities out there of unknown titles that could be what we need to, be the next tentpole to support between Splatoon and Mario.
I'm just having fun with my Switch. I'm excited that there's more to come, and just Nintendo's killing it so far.
Now, I want to touch upon something, actually. We got our hands on something pretty interesting. We got a special little gift in the mail the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. We got a couple Doc Socks.
Yes, that's right. These were actually sent to us by one of our friends, the guy I was actually on their podcast once before, of Run Jump Stomp. Real cool guy. And his wife has actually taken up making these Doc Socks on Etsy. And I actually, I guess, I know that these were originally conceived as a way to protect your screen from scratches in the dock. And while I'm definitely on record as saying, like, I think that fear is a little exaggerated and out of place, I still enjoy these dock socks for a number of reasons. I really do think I consider them the first like official art form of Nintendo Switch fans.
I actually love how this, you're right, it was a bit of a fear, and this was kind of a way to alleviate that. But it's really integrated itself as part of, the Nintendo Switch community now. It's really a thing.
Yeah, it is. And I see a lot of people posting up, either they make them, or they make some way, or they go on Etsy and, they find these things. I wonder if a company ever will start making these in a mass
official
production. Yeah, like official, or at least not official, but just like some third party, just actual professionally published ones out there. Like something that would be sold in GameStop. Even though I think that would not be nearly as cool as the way we get these like handmade, customized little things here. Right.
You can really tell that it's becoming part of the Switch culture to have one of these. I love how grassroots and how handmade all of these things are.
Yeah. Which one did you get, by the way?
So I actually got... Yeah, it was a Mario one.
I got actually a double-sided one. It's like the Zelda, like the ancient, like story wall carvings one on one side, and then the Mario cast of characters like Bowser, Lakitu, and princesses and stuff on the other side.
Honestly, if you think about it, what other console has this much customizability from the get-go? Like, with other consoles, if you want something on your console to display, you'd either have to buy a new special edition or maybe a skin or something like that.
I consider this a skin without the stickiness.
Right, without having to worry about the adhesive. So it's a lot more easy to switch around based on your mood. It's pretty cool.
It adds a little bit of color to my entertainment center. So I'll leave a link if anyone's interested, A, to see what ours look like, and B, if you want to pick up your own, we'll even have a code to get $1 off your order there. But anyway, you can check those out. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And I also have a special secret announcement, one that I haven't even told JV about yet.
Whoa, I am excited, nervous, scared. What is it?
So apparently, all right, the first part of this is only half a surprise. I am definitely going to be launching within this week a actual Mario Kart tournament with a schedule of different races where there's going to be higher ranking players are going to go play off again in another circuit against other higher ranking players. And it's going to be a whole tournament system where we're going to have a winner. And then there's going to be a prize. And we're going to have a grand prize. And can you guess what that grand prize is?
No, I have no idea.
All right. Well, due to an interesting twist of circumstance, we have obtained a NES Classic to purvey upon a listener of our choosing, as given to us by... Actually, let me check. This is from Haven on the Discord chat. He is in New Zealand. He has done some sort of shenanigans whereby he was able to get his hands on one of these for free. And funny story, he was looking for some podcasters. He actually messaged me in the weirdest way. He said, "Hey, are you the guys that wanted to have an NES Classic so they could shove a Raspberry Pi into it or something?" And I was like, "No, who would do that?" "Oh, okay, I gotta go find them and give them this." I was like, wait. That is a shame. That is a travesty to do something so rare and valuable and sacred. If you, on your quest, decide to change your mind and forego condemning an NES Classic to that fate, please consider letting us give it to someone a little bit more appreciative. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you can easily get an NES looking case for a Raspberry Pi. You don't have to break down an actual NES Classic for that.
Yeah.
It seems like such a waste.
I love his quote, though. He said, he just said, like, after he said, you can give it away as a prize on a tournament or open it up and eat oatmeal out of it, as long as you describe this experience in great detail on your podcast. So I could, and you know what, honestly, it's still possible. Maybe someone who just wants to raspberry this thing is going to race in the tournament and win it, and they're going to do that and dash my hopes of finding this thing a good home. But that's the risk we're taking by putting this out there.
But honestly, this is a huge prize, especially considering just how rare this object is.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you, Haven, for coming to your senses and sharing this with us. And we will definitely launch, I will definitely launch more details on the Facebook group, and I'll post it on Twitter. And just stay tuned for that. So I really want to make sure I run this right. We've been doing a lot of different experiments with the different types of tournaments on our weekly meetup, and we've been tweaking that, but I kind of want to do this in my own way, in a very meticulous way, to make sure we get a real winner without any kind of shenanigans of like, oh, you know, I happen to be racing against weaker opponents, or I raced when, you know, it was a lighter load of competitors, that kind of stuff that can happen. And
considering the gravity of the prize, we definitely want to make sure it's as fair and as skill testing as possible, because we know Mario Kart has a lot of luck elements to it, and we want to do what we can to mitigate that as much as possible while still retaining the fun of Mario Kart in a tournament.
Right. So JB and I are going to deliberate very carefully over the exact rule set we use, but then we will probably go out and we'll make arrangements, and I'm probably going to do a survey at first. I want to know what times people can play and try to find out the most ideal times. But you know what? We have people all over the world listening, so there's a chance, you know, someone in Scotland who wants to take a chance of this is going to have to wake up at 4 a.m. in order to play in a race. It's possible.
Yeah, but we'll do what we can to accommodate as many people as possible. Now that we're making the announcement, you know, you guys have to start practicing your races. Yeah.
And I also, half the thing of me making the announcement is it's the only way I can really force myself to go through and do this. Until I say it, I can always put it off another couple of days. Once this is out there and this is posted, I gotta do it. I'm on the hook, you know?
Yeah. Man, it's so tempting to just keep it, but no, we can't do that. We need to really pass it on to you guys, because this is exciting stuff.
Alright, so let's go into the playtime. Let's go over what we've been playing and have some fun with that, shall we?
Alright, let's go!
So, this week we had a few different interesting games came out, and I actually was able to get my hands on a review copy of NBA Playgrounds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A game that you specifically passed on.
I did. I had the option to take this, but I have to say sports games are probably not my thing. I don't think I've enjoyed any, except for a very few exceptions. And the Mario sports games, I have fun with those, but other than that, I don't really enjoy them quite as much, so I figured, Casey, you can have them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a mirror image of that opinion. Like, it's the exact same thing. Just, I think the last sports game, yeah, like Mario ones, like I've played, you know, all those different types of Mario baseball or the you know, the Super Strikers, whatever it was.
But, yeah, that was my absolute favorite sports game, Super Mario Strikers Charged on the Wii. The soccer game. I love those games.
I mean, I guess NBA Playgrounds is similar in that it is a arcade-style, exaggerated kind of super-powered sports game. It's not straight-up basketball, you know? So there is...
Yeah, okay.
I'll say the first thing, actually, first, now that, you know, making that kind of comparison between these games... the characters themselves are actually pretty well, even though they are all actual NBA players, they all have this really cool, like, kind of cartoony, stylized versions of themselves, like big heads and exaggerated features. Like, oh, this guy, he has a big grin with a gold tooth in real life, so they just make it like a giant, like his face is like all teeth almost, you know? It's just like, it's like when those guys draw the
like those caricatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I the art style kind of turned me off. I wasn't the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, it's still too realistic for someone like us. I think like we're not into real basketball players, so it doesn't matter to me that this is, you know, that these are actual NBA licensed names. You know.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, to someone who there's plenty of people that probably does matter to. So. This is going to be really awkward to discuss like this, but we have to establish we are kind of outsiders to the sports world, so we're trying to approach this.
I can definitely respect the appeal of sports games. Like I enjoyed NFL Blitz back in the day. Madden and FIFA games, those are popular for reasons. So
This does manage, though, in addition to it being a sports game, it does mix in another game genre that you know is something that has a very, I don't want to say animosity, just something that I generally spurn. And that is collectible card game mechanics.
Oh, okay, really?
Because you don't just play the game with all the characters unlocked and available to you. You start off and you open packs of characters. And you get like 3 packs to start, and each pack has like 5 different players. And yeah, so you unlock like at the start of the game, like maybe 15 players randomly spread across the different teams in the game.
So it's really starting to integrate that gacha style?
Exactly.
Gacha style game like the Fire Emblem Heroes, that type of stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
If basketball players are your heroes, then you will get that feeling from this. I will say I did pay attention though. So all the characters have their own different stats. Like, you know, they have how good they are at 2-pointer, 3-pointers, dunking, defensing, stealing, defensing.
That's a word.
Yes. It's an indefensible word.
Yeah.
But I did check this out just to make sure. I eventually did open up a couple of like legendary and epic characters, and I counted up their stat points. They do not seem to be outweighing any of the non-rare players, so I don't really know what makes them legendary other than maybe they're more famous. That's all I can guess. But at least there's no like stat imbalance between the rarer characters in this game or not. That actually appeases me a little bit in that regard.
Okay. And it's really funny that you're referring to NBA players as characters.
Yeah.
Though in this context, it's not completely incorrect. They are caricatures of their people.
That's true, and they are not all current players. In fact, some of them are like historic players. Like there's a guy. One of the guys that you can unlock is I think he was like called Mr. Basketball. He was like one of the first really superstar basketball players. And,
so I'm assuming they have people like Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal, that type of stuff.
I don't know if they'll have them. I just know that all I've unlocked so far is a bunch of people I don't know. And I looked at some of the bios, and I looked at this guy and I said, "Oh yeah, he played in 1946." I'm like, "Oh, I guess not all of them are." You know, maybe Jordan. Yeah. You know, I'm going to guess that the license for some of the characters like Jordan might be too much for this game. Like, those are probably some very big licenses all on their own, you know?
Right. I do see in the graphic that Shaquille O'Neal is there, so that's one person. But, yeah, no sign of Michael Jordan. I feel like someone like him would be on the box art as well.
Yeah. Shaquille would probably he'd license himself out to anything, you know? It's just like, I just want to
go for it.
We should call him, what's the name? He's the Shaquille O'Neal's like the Nicolas Cage of sports. He just wants I just want to be in more like things. I want to be more video games. Just put me in everything.
You might not be wrong with that.
That's it. All right, so actual gameplay. I like the basic premise of you just pick 2 characters, right? You have and you can pick 2 guys that have similar stats, and maybe you just want to be like you have a strategy set up for we're just gonna like drill it in the hole. We're gonna go for slam dunk after slam dunk, and that's gonna be our thing. Or you could try to pick two characters that complement each other. Maybe I'm going to have one guy who's really good at stealing the ball and playing defense, and maybe my other guy who's excels at actually getting it in the hoop or 3-pointers or something like that. So there's actually some interesting picks between the characters like that. Or just pick your favorite character and have a clone of him twice on the screen. Whatever you want. You play these tournaments, and you play through 4 rounds of these 2-on-2 games, and it's really weird. There's this weird scoring system. So yeah, it's pretty fast paced. You have like maybe 10 seconds to make a shot, and you can pass it. There's a power meter that actually builds up as you're doing things though. So every time you pull off a cool move or you slam dunk, you build up this power meter. And you could actually use that one of 2 ways. If you ever want to if you're desperate and you just like know they're going for a good shot, you can shove them. And shoving shoving them will just knock the ball out of them and almost never misses. And it's really hard to dodge, but it takes all whatever power meter you have out. But if you're able to hold on to it and play a clean game and you fill it up, you get a random power up that could be your next shot will just go in. You could like shoot it from anywhere and you'll just get it in almost guaranteed. Or you can get like a point multiplier and like the next thing you get will be worth double score, stuff like that. There's a lot of these cool little things like that you can get, but you have to still kind of play well in order to build that up. You either have to maybe steal the ball more or, do layups and other fancy stuff. There's a lot of good gameplay mechanics in here. This definitely isn't a game you can play, as far as I could see, with like sharing the joy. You cannot split up the controller because
there are too many inputs.
Yeah, there's hold down this trigger if you're jumping in for a slam dunk. There's hold down this trigger if you want your partner to go and set up for an alley-oop that you're going to pass to him. There's the pass button. There's a shoot button. There's an elbow button. Yeah, it's like rough. It's supposed to be like street ball. Like there's a lot of like roughing around with each other. There's no penalties, which is interesting. So the game does encourage you. The only thing that discourages you from being too rough is that playing clean lets you build up that power meter, and you have to cash that in order to play like a jerk.
Okay, so there is still an incentive to play as cleanly as possible. So
yeah, I mean, but sometimes you're like, what?
It's worth it. Let's do it.
It's worth it. I need to stop them right now, and I'm willing to do that. It's a little tricky to get used to for me, but I think I started after I got a feel for it of how to do the shots, because shooting the ball was. I still don't get this right because you have to, when you hit the shoot button, it's almost like one of those mini games where. I imagine somewhere in the game is one of those mini games where the longer you hold it, there's like a meter going up, and if you have to let go when it's at the full meter, and if you wait too long, it's a miss. If you let go too early, it's also a miss. But you never see that. Like you have to hold the shoot button down the right amount of time in order for your shot to go in. But there's nothing to indicate quite to like how long you need to hold it, so it takes a lot of practice to kind of figure out how long I'm supposed to be doing it for to get the shots in. It took me a little while to get used to, but it's a decent system.
Now I heard there were a couple of problems with performance on the Switch. Is that something that you ran into when you were playing?
I'll definitely say the one thing I heard and I can confirm is that the graphic fidelity definitely takes a hit in portable mode. It just feels very noticeably like the characters almost look blurred. Like they look really nice and sharp on the TV mode, but once I took it out, like it just felt like hold on, there's something wrong. Like it felt like something was just very like it's very jarring, and it felt uncomfortable that they just felt like blurry on the screen there. Okay, so that's the only thing. Everything else ran fine, and I guess I kind of got used to that. But if you're looking for good, like super awesome graphics, then you're gonna have to play it almost only on TV mode. I haven't played it online yet, but I had to beat like the first tournament in order to unlock that. But I am gonna try that now that I kind of have a grasp of it. Let's see how badly people beat me in this.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Go beat KC, everyone.
But it is fun, like the slam dunks when you do like the special moves and stuff. Like they're really over the top with like lightning striking down, and they're easy to do. It's not like you have to know too much in order to do the moves. It's just that the animations know when to make your character do the really fancy move. It's not like you have to really master anything tricky. So it is kind of cool to do that without really trying that hard. But then again, I play a style where I mostly do 2 and 3 pointer shots. I don't really go for too many slam dunks, and that's when all the cool stuff happens.
So
I don't get the cool animations.
You actually sound more enthusiastic about this game than I expected, Casey.
I don't dislike it. I definitely think it's a fun game. It would probably be more
$20
fun to me multiplayer. Yeah.
It's $20. Do you think it's worth that cost?
I think it's worth $20 if I like them online. I think it's so far pretty good, though. If the online system works, and I'll probably report on that next week, I will say it's definitely worth $20. I don't like this gacha system, and I also noticed that my characters are gaining XP as I use them. I'm wary about characters leveling up and having to like boost stats before I go online. That's another thing I'm worried about. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. So far, it's okay. Even from a non-sports guy, I think it's arcadey and approachable enough that if you sit down one night and just kind of learn how to shoot and pass, you'll be all right, and you might enjoy this with another player.
Okay. I think that's actually as promising as you can, a review as you can give it at this level. And definitely online would be make or break to some people.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to play a sports game, it's going to be one like this that's not a serious sports game.
Yeah, like not a hardcore sports simulator.
And it's quick. Like, a match can be like 10 minutes. Like, it really, I like that they're pretty fast.
Okay, yeah, that's a good proposal so far.
All right, so have you been playing anything this week?
Well, obviously I've been rather busy dealing with a couple things, which is why I wasn't able to attend the episode last week, so sorry. Though I have been, on my spare time, revisiting a bunch of the old games that we've touched on over the past few weeks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I played Tumbleseed again a little bit, and I can confirm it's still frustrating.
Okay,
to me.
That's understandable.
Yeah, Has Been Heroes, I tried that a little bit again. Still frustrating, but it's interesting how I am able to pick it up now after playing it for so long and not dying quite as much as I used to. So,
Ms. had glowing things to say about that. Like, she really does love that game, and she mentioned more of her gushings about that last episode.
Oh yeah. So I touched on that again. Wonder Boy touched on that a little bit as well. It's something that I just have to dedicate more time to, which I don't quite have yet so far, but the gameplay and the art style is still charming. And then even though I had Mario Kart in the cartridge slot, I tried out Fast RMX again, and that was a ton of fun.
There you go. Now, you have GameFly, don't you?
I do have GameFly, I do.
You should GameFly like a random... Like, I just GameFly'd Lego City Undercover.
Oh, really?
Just to fill in some, something to play over this week that's new, so I have something new to try out next week. There's a lot of games that we could probably catch up on that maybe we haven't gotten to touch yet. That's what it's pretty good to have at least one GameFly game come in just to like...
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Like Let's Dance or something like that. Just something that we haven't touched on because it wasn't a big title, but they're good to like just kind of touch upon.
Right.
Dead weeks.
I just like going back to the games that I haven't touched in a while and seeing if anything about that experience changed now that I've stepped away from it a little bit. It seems like so far the experience is relatively consistent.
That's good. I have definitely been, all right, so what would you say up to now has been one of your, not of the, obviously not like Mario Kart, but like what's been like your favorite non-huge purchase that you have? Or what's your favorite game so far on there that's not like the big titles?
Well, honestly, it has to be Fast RMX.
Okay,
that scratched the racing itch before Mario Kart even came out. And
Okay.
it has such a different tempo and feel to Mario Kart that even with such a huge game like that, it's something that could draw me back to it. I'm just really wishing there was a way to play online with friends.
Yeah,
There isn't
yeah.
that so far, and I don't believe the patch came out yet. So once that comes out as an alternative to Mario Kart, that might be something I'd want to play with everyone.
For me, it's definitely been Samurai Showdown. I think that's been the game that's gotten the most bang for buck for me. It's definitely a title that even when I'm like, I have Zelda in there, I have Mario Kart, I'm just like, you know what, I just want to beat something up for a few minutes. It's
Yeah,
my go-to fallback game every so often.
yeah. And gotta say, maybe I might take that Fast RMX back because Puyo Puyo Tetris. Love that puzzling mode. So
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
might be
that's
it.
good.
That might be it.
All right. So I think that's everything that we've played then. So we've done all of that. So shall we move into the news rundown?
Yeah, let's go. We've got a lot to cover.
So actually, yeah, we do have a lot to cover, but it was interesting in that this was a pretty focused Nintendo Direct. So it actually didn't have it's not like the last one we have to talk about like 20 different games.
Yeah.
Rapids. It's one game. We kind of go into a few new things, cover a few things, a lot of details that we don't really need to go super into.
Right.
Here.
It was a lot of reiteration of what we already knew, but it's nice that they covered some stuff that we still had questions about.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the ARMS Direct first, and then we'll talk about what happened after the ARMS Direct.
Oh, yeah.
They went over all the characters, kind of like back and forth between characters and features and stuff like that, and they went into all their signature arms that they used
signature arms.
What do you think that means exactly? Like, does that mean like that's a weapon that only they have access to, or something?
It's hard to say because it seemed relatively ambiguous.
Yeah.
I feel like signature arms are possibly the starting loadout for the character, and then you can customize as need be.
I see.
They didn't really specify whether the signature arms are exclusive to the character. I feel like it's not.
I see. For some of them, it makes sense, like that gloopy ball that DNA guy uses. Like that definitely seems like something like, all right, he has, and only he should have, and like the laser dragon head on Min
for
Min.
Min.
Yeah, like those sort of things feel like they should kind of just belong to them. But then again, who knows? Yeah, I'm still a little curious about how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
But we did see, I guess, a lot of new characters here.
Absolutely, and we can definitely go run down them real quickly.
Yeah, okay, so the first one they showed off was Kid Cobra.
Kid Cobra.
He's supposed to be like the extreme sports guy, or he's like the streamer?
Yeah.
He's like basically a YouTuber character.
Yeah, he is a YouTuber character. He's like a hardcore live streamer. He cares about his fan base and has some modern stylings, but he's kind of punk too. It definitely appeals to a certain crowd. Pretty cool.
He has that, so I guess his ability, it sounded like he can do consecutive slides around, so he's like very slippery on there, like a snake, I guess.
Which is appropriate to his character theme, being a cobra.
Yes. What I was really interested, though, when they showed him, was his arena.
Oh, right. The fact that...
what do they call it? Snakeboarding?
Yeah, something like that. Snakeboarding.
Yeah, it had
that's exactly right.
Yeah, it calls it like snakeboard. Like it had, like his arena had all these discs that both players could like jump on and fly around the stage on while fighting, which was really, like, that's totally different. That's like, it's something none of the other stages have anything like that. And it's such a cool, weird little element they threw in there.
Yeah, and I feel like that specific snakeboarding mechanic might be exclusive to his level, or maybe it's something that can pass on to other mini games of some sort. I'm not sure if it is specific.
I'm thinking it's specific to his stage because it looked like it had that, like it was built with those around there. Like I think
Right.
every arena kind of has their own little thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they showed off like a few of those in this one there, and that seems like that's what this stage is one. And I think that's pretty cool. Like just his arena alone was another cool feature to the game itself.
Yeah, it seems like there were a lot of initial concerns about content for this game, but it seems like there's quite a bit of diversity to just all the maps and the characters so far.
Yeah, definitely the fact that the arenas seem so different and interesting, and we're up to about 10. I think it's the full roster they called it. After this, we're up to 10 characters, and I've heard some people say that is kind of scant for a fighting game, and I've had other people who are like, yeah, but it's like 10 fighters times the custom options that actually matter. So it really is like exponentially more than that if you think of it that way.
Right.
So.
I don't necessarily disagree with the people who say that 10 characters is a little slim. But yeah, the fact that you can customize them so much adds a lot more diversity. I think it's not bad.
Yeah. And I mean if we look at how different some of these are. So like the next one they showed off was Bite and Bark.
Bite and Bark. This is guy. I told you I was kind of excited about the robot guy from the small snippet in the last podcast we discussed this on. Yes. Once they fully revealed him to be a giant security robot that combines with his little robot dog partner, I was
just
so
like him because he's a
sold.
Gundam.
He's not. He doesn't look exactly like a Gundam, but he's as close as you're gonna get in this game, and I freaking love it.
He looks like he could be a G Gundam.
Yeah, and
that would totally be like the G Gundam series. But yeah, that's cool. He has he has the little dog that kind of pesters the opponent. It's like an AI controlled little, a harassment unit that you can jump on.
Right, and I do like that his playstyle is a little bit angular, and since Bite is a different element on the field, you can do interesting flank attacks, but when you're really pushing, you can combine into one even stronger robot and kick butt that way.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Just a whole interesting mechanic. I like that.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Twintel, who is Twintel, which is the actress with the fighting hair.
Oh, yeah.
And she has the slow down time power, kind of. So she can basically go into bullet time at certain moments.
It's kind of interesting. If you think about it, she is kind of like Bayonetta. Have you played?
I guess it.
Yeah, if you think about it. Yeah, she controls hair. She fights with her hair, like Bayonetta does. And she slows down time, which is reminiscent of Bayonetta's witch time capabilities.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah.
Does she wear her hair, though?
She does.
No.
It's
entire outfit made of her hair.
No, it can't be exactly Bayonetta, but there's enough parallels to make the comparison. And I have to say, the character design of this character is gorgeous. She's so elegant looking, and I think that's a really interesting way to design a female character that's not cute and bubbly like Ribbon Girl.
All right, I have to tell the listeners now that they, and this is I told JV about this, and I don't know if he does this a lot, but Abe mentioned in the Facebook that JV would say she's quote gorgeous, and I don't know how he knew JV would say that, or if it's just in his head. I don't know if it's something JV says a lot, but now that you just said it, I'm like, there must be something here.
Well, it could have been subconscious. Like I subconsciously knew that was expected, and then I said it, but it wasn't a conscious effort to say it.
Okay, it's up in the air. It's up in the air now. But yeah, no, it is a cool design. It is different.
Yeah.
And now she's the second character that doesn't have actual springy arms.
Yeah, and I think it was a really cool take. I was kind of expecting a sort of luchador character.
Yeah, when I saw it first. Because I honestly, I mean, right now, of all the female characters, right, it's one that had to build a robot to fight for her, One that's like a singer pop star, and the other's an actress. It's like all the females still have to kind of be very, very feminine kind of, I don't know, almost like cliche female roles.
A little bit. I mean, Mechanica...
She reminds me of Luca from Chrono Trigger.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. She's probably the closest to breaking the mold. But, they don't have, like, one... Like, what's the girl, the Russian from Overwatch?
Zarya.
Like, I feel like they needed a Zarya. Like, that I feel like that's a great representation of, like...
Of a different...
Just a woman who's just strong, not because... she's also, like, an actress or, a Britney Spears
idol
that can fight. Yeah, it's something that breaks the mold a little bit there. But it's a minor thing.
Yeah, and honestly, the way these characters are designed are really cool. I like that they're able to find different and interesting ways to portray springs and long-range physical attacks.
Yeah, what is it now? So we got hair, we got ramen noodles, we got springs, we got bandages, blobs, DNA strand. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and
all right. So we also, the big thing they kept throwing in between the character reveals were the different game modes, and these were actually pretty exciting. Some of these, we knew that there was 2v2. But we actually got to see a little bit more of how that works. So if we had a lot of questions about how 2v2 works.
Yeah, it seems like the two characters are actually tethered together.
Yeah.
So in a way, they're kind of two arms, but with two other arms split up fighting the other team.
Yeah, so you have to stay within a certain proximity of your ally. I wonder what made him design this. I guess so, like, you always can, like, know where to face your opponents. It's not like you can, be fighting two separate battles. I guess that's a smart move. Because,
I think so.
Free, you might just be having two one-on-one fights.
And being tethered, I feel like it does make it feel more 2v2. You're right.
Yeah, that's probably a smart idea that I just wouldn't have thought of. That's interesting. And then they had, what else they had?
V-Ball?
Bunch of them.
Yeah, they had V-Ball, which is essentially volleyball, but in the arms game.
Right.
Which is cool.
Hoops. They also had hoops.
Hoops was interesting because essentially you're trying to get the grab on the other opponent, and once you grab them, you can just dunk them into a hoop, and that scores you points.
That just looked silly, but kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then they had the skill shot, which was a competition. So you're both on the opposite ends of a room full of targets.
Yes, and you're trying to break as many targets.
And you can attack the other player on the opposite side to, like, slow down their attacking. So
right,
it's
and
one of those things.
It's these different modes are kind of reminiscent to the Smash Ball and the Smash the Target modes in Super Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like really fun side modes. I don't know how deeply or widely played they're going to be, but they do look fun.
I think they're the kind of thing where, like, let's say you're actually having, like, a pretty serious game group, or maybe, like, you're having a whole night of playing ARMS and pretty competitively, and you need to, like, just take a breather and be like, okay, we just chill out on the, like, beating each other up and just play some V-Ball for, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how much I could see it being used. It's a little distraction.
And they also have 1 on 100, where you have to defeat 100 enemies in a row, which is pretty cool. And then obviously the ARMS test and training mode, where you do training and test out different arm combinations and such.
Yeah. Oh, right. What did you think of the thing at the very beginning of the video where they actually tried to have a historical basis for the stretchy arm characters?
Yeah, world building. I kind of find the world building to be fascinating in these types of games. Like in Splatoon, it gets pretty in-depth and interesting.
See, I don't think that this was actually, like, world building, though. I feel like it was like, okay, we have this game with characters and stretchy arms that we made for whatever reason. Could someone make up a reason why this happens? And their reason is, some people wake up and it happened. That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, even compared to Splatoon, it's definitely way less serious than that.
That's a pretty low bar of serious.
Yeah.
Granted, Splatoon does sound like it's getting more serious with every update we see so far of it.
Yeah, not that it's not playful, but here they really just don't care about it as much. I like that they tried to explain it anyway.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just a weird little thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's the other parts of the multiplayer they revealed. The tournament modes are the basically, well, first they showed off the Grand Prix, which is the one player mode,
Right.
You know, and they kind of showed us a little bit what the boss might look like. There's two things that I think might be the final boss.
Right. The multi-armed one and some big, bulky, shadowy guy.
I saw him. He turns around during one of those montages. He kind of looks like he could be like Springman's dad.
Oh.
Like he looks like he has like a golden Springman. So like I'm like, oh, I don't know, because like Springman kind of looks like the face of the game. Like he would be the Ryu of it.
Yeah, who knows? But it is cool that you can actually play the Grand Prix mode locally with 2 players. So
that's true. Yeah, the fact that you can play cooperatively in some sort of mode, which is pretty cool. And then they showed off the multiplayer setup, which can go up to 20 different players on 10 different Switches if you want.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. It's the fact that you can connect that many players locally or online within the same lobby is so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm guessing it'll have this is a game that needs to have an actual tournament like mode where like the game says, okay, you two fight, and then like you do your fights, and then it can kind of like, I don't know, not just like lobby it and just pick someone, like where it actually organizes your fights and structures a elimination or some sort of tournament mode, or like, at least give the loser someone to play, something like that, to like give a reason that we need to be in one lobby rather than me and him are going to link up and then me and him are going to link up, that kind of thing.
Well, I do like that, you can have 20 people in the same lobby and then you guys get paired up amongst each other in a rotating circle, and it's kind of like playing a round robin with friends. Yeah, that's
pretty good. I guess a round robin. If that is what it does, I guess that's pretty good. A round robin mode would be pretty good.
That's what it does so far. I don't know. We don't know what other options it has. Maybe the lobby system allows you to do a more structured tournament. That's something that I'm still wondering about. But
if it does a round robin, and at the end of it, it shows you the results, and like you could figure out who's the top, who has the best records, and then you could just do your own playoff basically from there.
Yeah.
That would be enough, I guess. I would like it to have that tournament thing at the end, or like a playoff at the end, but just giving me the option to see the best record and then do my own finals is, I guess, acceptable.
Yeah, either way, we'll definitely do what we can to figure something out for that. Yep, so they have the ranked system, which is expected. This one's the standard 1v1 match, and your rank goes up or down based on whether you win or lose. So standard ranked.
Straightforward, yeah.
Yep, and then obviously the local wireless mode.
Yep.
Which is expected too.
Oh, and then the big one. The test, what do they call it? The test...
Global Test Punch.
Global Test Punch that they announced, yes. So that is going to... Some people asked us in the past, they said, do you think they're going to do like a global test fire like they did for Splatoon? And we kind of thought there was just purely a test of the, stress test of their servers for it. But I guess they could... We thought that was it. Like, they're done. They tested it, and they know what the servers are going to do. But I guess they've decided, let's just give this as a way to demo it and let people try this game out.
I feel like test somethings are going to be more standard for Nintendo games in the future, especially games that are not as well known in IP like Splatoon or ARMS. Because it lets people demo that experience. It's a way for them to build a hype for the game that hasn't been tested yet or hasn't been tried as a franchise yet. So, I'm starting to expect these test punches or test fires for future Nintendo games to come.
I think it's most important for these games that are heavily based on the
Online,
versus because you know what you could give someone a demo of Splatoon and they could play that one player mode and they're going to get a very different impression of the game than what you're going to probably do 90% of the time with it.
Right. These games are so centered around the online infrastructure and playing with other people that test fires are a way to demo that experience. That's correct.
Yeah. So there's actually a whole bunch of days they have here. They have May 26th through the 28th. There's going to be that weekend. And then there's also going to be one June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is the other weekend. So that's a pretty wide margin. A lot of chances you're going to get. I'm sure it's going to be the same thing as with Splatoon, where like here's an hour or two to try it out each day, and so we'll try to post all those times so people can come and try it out.
Yeah,
and it'll be best. It's probably the best time to try it out when everyone else sucks at it too.
Yeah, just start from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the biggest things that really got us excited is the fact that future updates for ARMS will be free.
Yeah.
And they're going to add new fighters, stages, and ARMS to the game for free, which is awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's a great model because you know what? A lot of people right now probably feel that, those people who feel like 10 isn't enough characters, you'll probably just have enough time, I bet, to kind of get comfortable with those 10 characters before they add, like, the 11th or the 15th. You know, it'll give you just enough time to kind of settle into this, understand the game without having to jump around and learn 15 different unique abilities.
Right.
And then they throw you the curveball, you know?
Right. And this model has really been starting to get more popular nowadays, with MOBAs adding new characters to their roster on a continuous basis. Games like Overwatch adding new characters over time for free. Even games like Smash, where they release new big characters as DLC packages. It's really how the industry is going now. The fact that these characters are free and they're going to add more stuff shows that they're going to support this game in the long run, and makes it seem like ARMS is more than just a game. It's a platform, which is great.
I can see that. I'm really hoping. I'm rooting for it. Like I said, I said last time I went from maybe like a 60% interested to 80%. I think I went from maybe 80 to 85, 90%. Like I'm still not 100% sold on it, but I'm getting there. Every time I see a little bit more, I'm interested in this game. And you know, it really does come down to, if people play this, it's going to be fun and successful. But if people don't play it, if you don't give it a chance, and there isn't a community of people playing it, it's just going to kind of flounder. So I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm interested enough that I'm going to give this a shot and give the community a chance to impress me.
I definitely am getting this game. I'm 100% on board. You guys are going to see me facing off in the Discord chat against everyone. It's going to be a blast, and even if Casey doesn't participate, I will join you guys in the fight.
I'm going to give it a shot. I'm definitely going to give this a shot at least. Like, maybe I won't buy it day one, but maybe I will rent it and then decide whether I'm going to buy it, you know?
Yeah. Which is totally fair.
Yeah. Okay, so other than that, they also threw in at the end of the Direct a little Splatoon trailer of some interestingness.
I honestly did not expect them to even cover Splatoon at all in this Direct.
Mm-hmm.
But they did, and it kind of peaked at the single-player mode.
Yeah, that was kind of what this was focused on. It was an interesting little reveal of it just kind of looked like this main setting, the city from the first game, but it kind of looks slummy.
Yeah, well, it was a little slummy back then, but it's a bit more so now, which I don't know why, but we'll find out. Mm-hmm. And looking at what they featured, the single-player mode seems a lot more lively and robust than the last one.
It was pretty actiony. I mean, I only played a little bit of the one-player mode in the previous one, just to kind of like tutorialize it.
Yeah.
But this looks really like action-packed and a lot of I don't know. It looked a little puzzle-solvy too. It looked like you had to figure out how to use the ink,
right?
Get over obstacles and that stuff. But there was a lot of like sliding around, like across wires, jumping, big things falling on your heads.
Right. And when this came out when we were watching it together on the Discord chat, I couldn't help but say that it looked like Super Mario Galaxy. But it does look like there's a bit more adventuring going on than in the previous Splatoon 1 single player. And I'm excited to see how this goes. It really feels more fleshed out than it ever has.
And I'm actually halfway interested in the story of Callie and Mari. Well, they didn't show Callie in this one, which almost makes a lot of people wonder: is she the villain?
Is she the villain, or is she
Marie
abducted?
seems to be the one who's recruiting you to go on and do whatever mission is involved here.
Who knows? That's so interesting how they're going into this type of lore. The Squid Sister Chronicles that they've been releasing over time is kind of touching into that. So,
all right. So we do have a little bit of regular news to catch up on. So why don't we go shoot our way through that and hit these up one at a time and try to rapid fire while we round things up.
All right, let's go.
All right. So the Indiegogo campaign for Aeterno Blade has launched. It came with a new trailer, kind of showing off how this game works with a. It's an action Metroidvania with a kind of a time manipulation puzzle solviness. But I don't know. Action looks pretty slow in this, and it doesn't really seem to impress me. It doesn't look too pretty, nor does the action look too interesting to me.
Yeah,
so
well,
I'm not hot for this yet.
Right. It was originally going to be on the 3DS. But now they're bringing it over to the Switch, and it's going over to the PS4, Xbox One, Steam. It looks interesting, but not incredibly compelling.
Oh, did you get Minecraft?
I did not yet, actually.
Okay, some people who got Minecraft apparently had reported that their Switch started doing what they call the sentient Switch screenshots, where it would just randomly take screenshots while playing games.
Oh, how creepy.
Yeah. So they actually are working on a fix for this. So hopefully Nintendo just mentioned that they're going to have an update soon to kind of correct this. But again, it's if it's happening, at least it's not a major problem. It's just something you have to deal with until they upload that, which should be I'm guessing in the next week. It seems like something they want to fix fast.
Yeah, they've recognized and acknowledged that it's a bug, and now they're going to be fixing it soon. Now, did you happen to see the next game that was on our list?
I feel like I've seen this game like 5 times in different forms.
So there's a new game that was announced to come to the Switch. It's called Tiny Metal. It's a top-down SRPG that is supposedly inspired by Advance Wars.
Yes. Though I gotta say, I've been talking about games that have been spiritual successors to Advance Wars for I feel like 4 years now. I feel like everyone keeps talking about that.
Right. Yeah, I brought this up too on the Discord chat. Whenever a game says that it was inspired by Advance Wars or it's the spiritual successor to Advance Wars, I feel like none of them have ever truly lived up to that statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at Tiny Metal, and it looks cool. It looks good, but I'm not sure if it would live up to quite yet.
Well, see, right now though, you have to there's 2 options in this field, right? There's Tiny Metal, and we're also looking forward to Wargroove. And they both present the same kind of gameplay in a different way. There's Tiny Metal, which has the CG, very shiny machine units, and there's Wargroove, which has the more traditional animated art with the medieval stylized characters.
Right. It's interesting that Wargroove took the pixelated animated art style of Advance Wars, but sent it medieval, while Tiny Metal took the more real, like mechanical technology war machines, but went CG. So it's like they're splitting off into two different art styles for their games.
Yeah.
But it's hard to compare the actual gameplay and whether it'll really capture the feel of Advance Wars or not.
Honestly, I think that even if the game's gameplay were like 80% the same on both of these, I think that difference in style would probably appeal to totally different people anyway. Like they could probably both do very successfully by just appealing to
different audiences.
Just almost, or like the same audience, but like half of it and half of it, because we just want to play that gameplay. I don't care which genre it is, but I'll probably favor the Wargroove style. Whereas I don't know, like you might favor the Tiny Metal style. Who knows?
Yeah. I was looking at Tiny Metal, and I think I do slightly favor that theme and genre. It's a little harder to tell where the units are.
Yeah,
because the 3D graphics kind of make everything look cluttered. And I feel like I have more confidence in Wargroove being the better product, but I'm definitely going to try Tiny Metal out because we'll try it out.
There was a custom Sonic Forces trailer showing off the custom character feature of this. And this is something I didn't realize.
So Sonic Forces apparently will give you the option to create your custom original character to include in the game. Now, if you guys don't know or haven't been to the internet for very long, making Sonic original characters is part of a subsection of the internet. And it definitely gets interesting. There's a big Sonic fan base that loves creating those characters, and there's a lot of memes about it. And finally, those DeviantArt Sonic fanboys can finally make their own characters in the actual Sonic 3D games.
So basically, furries, your game is here. Like, honestly, you could make it look like you could make a whole bunch of different, animal bases for your Sonic character, and a whole bunch of, wardrobe choices, just all these aesthetics, color, fur, all this other things.
Oh yeah. And
that's pretty cool, though. It looked like it animated, like when they actually showed the in-game use of the custom character. It looked pretty, like it fit in. I don't know how many. I mean, I only saw the one, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've never really delved into that world. I am a fan of Sonic, but I'm not a fan to the point where I would create original characters and fan fiction about my original characters and all that stuff. I'll make my own. I'll make an OC for you guys not to steal.
We also got word of a new actual Harvest Moon game coming to the Switch. Harvest Moon Light of Hope.
Finally another dedicated Harvest Moon sequel that fills the gap in that franchise.
Yeah, because there are a bunch of these farming games either already out or like we have Stardew Valley coming.
Right.
And I think that they kind of have to get on here before people, because I don't know how many of those people can play at once. So you kind of have to grab your audience for this relatively before others. But to read of the description of the game is players begin as they set out looking for a fresh start and new surroundings. During their voyage, their ship is hit by a monsoon and goes down. And as they drift into a small harbor town, now in shambles from the storm, it will be up to the player to help rebuild the town and save the lighthouse. But it won't be easy.
Yeah. So it's a relatively common Harvest Moon premise. But it's good to see practically the OG of the farming simulator franchise come back on the Switch. We'll see. We'll see if it actually lives up to its history, or if we've all just moved on to new games like Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it depends on what they do to take advantage of the system, I think.
Yeah,
That'll be a
I
big
agree.
deal. How about this use your words game? This seems like it could take a pretty interesting spot in a Switch library.
So it uses the mobile phone multiplayer idea from the Jackbox. So in order to play multiplayer, you don't necessarily need any Switch controls. It's just a way to put something up on the screen for your phones to interact with. This seems to be getting pretty common, and I welcome as many party games on the Switch as possible.
So this one kind of looked like, I want to say, Cards Against Humanity for Switch.
Yeah, I mean,
it had
apples to apples.
A little bit. It had a little bit of that, but it had they specify in the trailer how this is a game that it's there to appeal to your dirty-minded friends as well as your people who might want to play it clean. But they kind of kept insinuating that this is your chance to say something dirty and make a weird offensive joke if you're in the right company, like that kind of game there.
Yeah.
It does seem like they take advantage of the phone in that you can type out some very, like, it's not just you're using it as a controller to pick from a multiple choice like in most of the Jack games. It's like, yeah, kind of like apples to apples, but like one of the scenes they showed was they had a clip from an old movie and you had to write the subtitles for it, and you can make it look like they're saying different things, and I guess, the turn's judge will pick who had the funniest text for that.
Right. Honestly, it seems pretty fun. It's something that I'd be willing to bring to a family gathering or just a gathering with friends.
It could have some,
Yeah.
Flat Heroes. I don't know what to make of this game. This looks really interesting. They call it a multiplayer. Shut up, cat. They call it a super intense local multiplayer title, and it looks like you're just a cube trying to survive a barrage of geometric shapes flying around a screen, and different obstacles to try to kill you, and you have to find a way to, I guess, be the last cube standing.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. The art style is unique. It's hard to make how the game is going to be, whether it's going to be fun or not. It
looks intense. I'm just curious how it actually plays out. So I would really like to get my hands on it just to kind of understand it.
I like the minimal color scheme and the contrasting palette. But the gameplay, we'll see how that pans
out. We also got confirmation from WayForward that Shantae, half Genie Hero, is coming to Switch in this summer. The Shantae series is pretty awesome platformers. They're generally well regarded. I've liked them before. I've played it even on my iPhone, so that's pretty cool.
I haven't actually played any of the Shantae games, and they seemingly get well reviewed. So.
And I mean, they're fan servicey, but not like gratuitously. They're just kind of like, and it's just weird. It's just this weird, like, it's a good platformer that also uses fan service. It's not like a game that's just cheaply trying to appeal to you with like the cute characters.
Okay.
It's like, it's a good platformer that also has all these like weird little cute characters, and you always have an option in these games. If you hit a button, time freezes, and you just make Shantae do a belly dance on the screen, and that's it. It's just a reason to stop time. You can't do anything other than watch her dance.
It's that's definitely interesting. It's kind of strange because this art style doesn't really. I can't imagine it being particularly scintillating for people, but
it is. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Okay. People can find ways to be scintillated by anything.
Mighty Gunvolt Burst. Now that's a game that's scintillated me in the past, and this is a game. Mighty Gunvolt came out on 3DS a while back.
Oh yeah,
it was a great platformer. It succeeded, I think, where Mighty Number 9 failed in trying to like revitalize this kind of Mega
Platforming
Man-y,
genre.
Yeah, Mega Man-y kind of platformer, but it added its own cool mechanic. And now they're making, this version, Mighty Gun Volt Burst, which is going to basically be the original game with some added features. And you could actually play as Beck from Mighty Number 9, as well as some other characters. Pretty cool. I'm really happy to see that this has been spreading around a lot lately.
Yeah. It's a good genre to explore, despite, the critical failure of Mighty Number 9.
Yeah. I mean, this guy... Gunvolt, he's picking up the slack. He's the one who's showing up in other people's games now with him in Blaster Master. We got a little bit of a picture, a little teaser of what Nintendo is planning for E3.
Yeah, and it looks like their E3 is going to be quite jam-packed. And I love that they're immediately showing live tournaments of Splatoon and ARMS. I'm so excited to see those games in a tournament format to view.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal, and it's probably going to be a strong attempt to pick up the esports kind of momentum with it right off the bat.
Right. I feel like it's a great way to show people, these games might have esports potential. If you want to get in on that, start building up your communities.
Yeah. And it's a confirmation we are going to see Super Mario Odyssey there, so we'll finally have information to talk about that game, which is, as I mentioned, the next big tentpole that we know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finally, we had some Mario Kart patch notes, just to edit a few little things, just updating a few things like, I don't know, people were complaining that the Mii drivers didn't have facial expressions, so they fixed that.
Yeah, now up to 2 players can spectate a friend group while they wait to join, which is really cool. There was a limit to that before, and I'm glad they're allowing more players to spectate.
Yeah, it's kind of boring just waiting and watching that space background.
Yeah, and now the tournament clock was fixed, so it properly reflects real world time. Just a bunch of other.
It was always an hour off before, right?
Yeah, exactly. I guess now we have to fix our timer back.
And the main thing is that invincibility is extended a little longer in online matches. So it kind of reduces how you can go from first to dead last just by getting hit too often in a row. Like,
right.
Just red shell, star goes by, bullet bill. All right, last place.
Especially when you're racing against real human beings. They can really stack on you deliberately for that. And this invincibility period increase can tip the balance back in your favor.
At least let you survive to cross the finish line when you're like inches away from second place,
It's a good change.
So the new releases, the games that came out since last week or since we last had an episode, as we mentioned, Minecraft, which we already have a pretty good community starting up in the Discord chat. People are already planning a lot of stuff out for that. Oh,
absolutely. It's relatively regularly people are meeting up in the voice channels on our Discord chat to play together. It's nice. We didn't even organize this ourselves.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to Rin, who we might have to talk about this on the show next week. Who is kind of ringleading this whole movement there and organizing the group. And we're going to try to get her on here to talk about Minecraft and what the plans are for the SwitchCast Minecraft gang.
Yeah, and I know some of you guys might be a little disappointed that we didn't delve into Minecraft quite as much this episode. But we're bringing Rin on next time, and we'll cover that game a lot more then.
Garou, Mark of the Wolves, again, another great one of those Neo Geo fighters there. Some say the best one. The Disgaea 5 demo is out, so if anyone's interested in that, you can try out early chapters of that game. NBA Playgrounds, as I mentioned, is out, and we have a few titles. The full Disgaea 5 Complete will be out May 23rd. And we got Ultra Street Fighter 2 coming out. I think that's next Friday?
May 26th, yeah. It's coming up very soon.
And Rhyme. And actually, I'm a little afraid now. If Ultra Street Fighter comes out, if Pocket Rumble doesn't come out before that, I think they're going to take a sales hit. I'm really kind of afraid for
Pocket
Pocket
Rumble.
Rumble. I'm kind of have my fingers crossed that they are secretly hoping to release like Wednesday right before Street Fighter. I don't think it's likely, but I hope so.
I feel like it would be damaging. I feel like they just released too late now. Even if Pocket Rumble comes out next week before Street Fighter 2, it's going to be overtaken.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. But
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
And then, yes, Rhyme also comes out. In case you're not a fighting game fan, that's going to cover you for the action-adventure puzzle-solving type.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a very eco Shadow Colossus type feel.
Yeah. All right, let's close up the show with some community pulse and hear what you guys think about our Nintendo Direct from today. From Kevin, who just wanted to ask us, can you imagine a Breath of the Wild as an online multiplayer game? Cats are fighting at my feet. You have you and 3 friends running around Hyrule, killing silver Lionels and solving puzzles. Do you think this would ever happen? Do you think this is anything feasible?
It's definitely feasible. I feel like it's something that's technologically possible, but they wanted to focus Zelda as a single player game. Something like this is fun, though I feel like this type of experience can be replicated through an MMO.
I think what they could do is, because, Zelda does have games like the Four Swords Adventures.
Yeah, and then the Triforce...
Heroes.
Force Heroes.
Yeah, like they do those kind of games, though they generally tend to be in the more cartoony, like the Toon Link type games, like the top-down... like the 3DS games or the Wind Waker type graphics. I don't feel like, as much as they are going to keep doing this series in the style of Breath of the Wild, I don't think they're going to go full GTA and start throwing in multiplayer like elements like that with this. But I do think they'll probably make some cuter version with 4-player in it.
I feel
like a short, not like a full Breath of the Wild type game, but they're going to make another Four Swords Adventure type game, maybe on the eShop. That's another, but I don't think they're going to make one in the Breath of the Wild style.
I really feel like it would be wonderful if they did, though. I could just imagine everyone going in their different armor combinations, fighting people and solving puzzles together. It could be fun.
The precedent is there. It's possible.
Right.
It's possible, but I think they really, for this series, are going to focus on the solo play.
I agree. I don't think it's particularly likely, but it's not completely out of the question. Anyway, so from Adam Bass, loving ARMS every time I see it. And it's great news that there's free content updates just like Splatoon. Also, Splatoon 2, hype! Yes, hype. So much hype.
Dr. Panda wrote, I love the variety of characters and arms and all the possible combinations. That combination thing, that kind of satisfies my deck building mentality. I'm really going to want to play around with different attack styles, and I feel like we might even have an interesting metagame where it's like, okay, this is the combination of weapons that is popular now. What's the counter strategy to that?
Right.
And kind of messing around that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see how people gravitate towards specific characters and specific arm combinations for those characters. So even if I play Min Min and you play Min Min, our Min Mins can be different Min Mins. So from Mike Sarver, ARMS went from a no to a maybe. Still, we'll want to see reviews first. More hype for Splatoon.
And Jared Gauthier, he wrote, went from probably not to I have to try it. Still not sold. I usually get burnt on fighting games, but this might be different. So yeah, a lot of people seem to have gone from, either no to maybe to, or from maybe to definitely. I've been definitely going from, gradually warming up to this every time we see more of it. So
honestly, there are a lot of parallels from ARMS to the original Splatoon. This type of reaction was very similar to how the original Splatoon was received. So, considering by the time Splatoon was released, everyone was really a big fan of it, even all the people who were originally skeptical. I feel like ARMS will sell you on its gameplay.
No, I think that's a great comparison. I think ARMS definitely is the Splatoon of fighting games. Like Splatoon, I never played FPSs. I was not a fan of them. But Splatoon did something different and made it a more approachable and fun genre for someone like me. And I feel like that's what this is doing with fighting games.
Yeah, and in Splatoon, despite being accessible and open for casual players, it still didn't really compromise on its depth. And I like that Nintendo is going this route with their games. Not to go on a really big rant, but people have complained that Nintendo can't produce new ideas and they have to stick to their old characters and franchises. But no, Splatoon last year or 2 years ago, now ARMS. They're really ramping up their new IPs.
It's more new, interesting IP than most people actually do. But Nintendo just gets derided either way. It's like, they either don't do enough new stuff, or people stop doing new stuff, stick to what you're used to.
Yeah, exactly. It's lose-lose. But in our case, as Nintendo fans, win-win.
Adam wrote, more modes than I expected, and the free content updates have me pretty excited. It made all the difference in Splatoon.
And from Patrick Adams, the many modes in ARMS you can play, like the Grand Prix, or in translation, story mode. Not gonna lie, I went from meh to being interested. My son, age 5, loved it, so I will likely end up picking it up.
Oh yeah, playing with a kid, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And considering it's a motion control game, where that motion feeling would really feel satisfying and visceral to younger audiences.
I can see that, yeah.
And considering
the characters are pretty approachably fun looking.
Yeah, they're fun, they're diverse, and I want amiibos of some of these guys.
They even gave Master Mummy a good guy backstory that he's trying to find his family.
Yeah, it's fun. The characters are diverse and interesting.
We did have one negative, I feel like. Warren Fernandez wrote, only focusing on 2 games I have no interest in. The latest Direct wasn't for me. That being said, I expect to be surprised when it's E3 time.
Well, as much as these 2 games do excite me, and a little bit you too, Casey, it's good to recognize that Splatoon and ARMS aren't necessarily for everyone.
Yeah.
And this is a small Nintendo Direct. It's good that they were upfront about their focus on these games.
Right. You wouldn't be let down. It's not like you're ooh, I was waiting for more. Oh, it's just ARMS and just Splatoon.
Yeah. They were pretty upfront about it. And Warren, we're with you there. I expect to be surprised during E3 as well. Hopefully,
I just think a lot of people are waiting for Mario. I think a lot of people are waiting for him.
Hopefully you find a game in E3 that'll fit your own personal taste.
Bring us home.
All right, so finally, Jeffrey Kappenberg. I suspected they might do a Splatoon-style content rollout, but I wasn't expecting this many different modes in the initial launch. Also, I can't help but wonder if Masahiro Sakurai is involved. The icons and weapon variety are very much in his style. Either way, I very much approve. So, I agree. It's awesome that they're doing that Splatoon-style content rollout. And yeah, a lot of the community expected ARMS to be rather thin in the content mode. And we just expected versus mode and maybe an arcade-style fight 10 people, and that's it. The fact that they're including so many side modes and have such a robust lobby system and multiplayer setup gives me a lot of hope for the longevity of this game.
Yeah, cool. All right, and that will end our episode for tonight. So Thank you, everybody, for listening. And if you like this show and you want to help us do more and better shows, visit us over at patreon.com/theswitchcast. That's where you can pledge your support as little as $1 a month or as much as you feel. We have rewards for different support tiers, and it helps us not only pay for servers and stuff, but helps us upgrade our equipment so we can do more awesomer, better sounding stuff here and possibly on YouTube. Maybe some streaming in the near future.
Oh, yeah.
We also have the Amazon affiliate link on our homepage. If you're ever buying something on Amazon, you can support us just by clicking on that and then buying whatever you want to buy. And we get a small little kickback from Amazon for that. Doesn't do anything to your cost, doesn't affect your purchase at all. So it really is one free way to support us. Of course, you can always do the other way we love getting support is on iTunes. Leave us a review. Tell us, tell everyone how much you like the show, and help us get exposed to more people that way. Again, there's a lot of places you could find more stuff about the SwitchCast. We're always active on our Discord chat. You'll find us tweeting on @theswitchcast, and our Facebook group is really popular and has a lot of people who are always posting and chatting about stuff. So you'll find links to all those in our show notes. So hope to see you guys there. Thank you, of course, as always, to Essa for the fine music you're listening to right now.
And until next time,
switch it up!